So I'm still reading the Quran, and I'm on Surah 43 as Zukhruf. So sorry if I've said that wrong, but it means the golden ornaments. And there's this part that I've found, and I really, really like it. I'll explain why I like it in a moment, but I'm going to read it out. There's quite a bit that I need to read. So it goes from verse 26 to the end of verse 35. So bear with me. Okay, so the starting heading for it is: the idolaters would like a celebrity to be a prophet. Remember when Ibrahim told his father and his people, I reject what you worship, and I worship the one who created me, and he guides me. And he implemented this word among his children so they may return to it. I let them and their forefathers enjoy life until the truth eventually came to them, and a noble messenger who explained clearly. When the truth came to them, they said, this is magic, so we won't believe it. And said, why wasn't this Quran sent down to a famous personality from one of the two towns? Are they distributing your Lord's kindness? We ourselves distribute among them their livelihoods in this worldly life, and we raise some among others in ranks, so some may take others in employment. Your Lord's kindness is more excellent than the treasures they gather. And if it weren't for the prospect that people would become one disbelieving community, we would have made for the deniers of the most kind houses with silver roofs and stairways to climb. The gates of their houses and the couches on which they rest would be made of silver, and they would be surrounded by golden ornaments. These are mere enjoyments of worldly life. The delights of your Lord in the hereafter are for the pious. I really like this, because of, not just because maybe I've grown up in a working class area and a very working class estate, but it's the way it's talking about, riches aren't everything. And I love that part where the nobleman, the rich person, is saying, why wasn't this Quran sent down to a famous personality from one of the two towns? Do you know who this reminded me of? William Shakespeare. Because there are people, and I can't remember what they call it, but there are people who and they have this name where they don't believe William Shakespeare wrote his own plays because of his background and where he was from. He was from Stratford-upon-Avon. By the end of his life, he was, middle class and was doing well, but he came from a working class background, and because he signed his name differently across his life, a lot of people believe that he didn't write his plays, and there's this whole intricate plot to do with, I think, the Earl of Essex. It's a whole thing, conspiracy theory, foil tin hat gone mad kind of thing, rather than just accepting that this guy from a working class background who saw every kind of walk of life was able to write these beautiful plays, these beautiful words, and was able to understand all of humanity, because that's why people love Shakespeare so much, because he lived just over 400 years ago, and he was able to write things that have echoed through the ages, that have echoed through those 4 centuries, because he understood humans. And that when you read or watch any of his plays, you realise we haven't changed all that much. Humans are humans. At the end of the day, no matter what time frame they come from, we're still human. And he understood that very well. And there are people who would deny that he wrote these plays because, oh my God, how could a working class uneducated man have written these plays? And that's what that reminded me of, the whole prospect of, well, why should we listen to you? Because you're not rich, you're not famous, so why would Allah speak to you? And that kind of attitude has always really angered me. And there are people who, some people who are religious from any of the Abrahamic religions, and some people who are atheist, who adopt that attitude as well, that are but why a poor guy? And it's just, I find it infuriating. And it just, you know, it speaks volumes about rich people, not all rich people, but rich people thinking that they are better than, and that having more somehow makes them more important, makes them more pious. And I find it deplorable, to be honest. But yeah, it's just, I did not expect to see that again in the Quran, and that's what I'm in awe of this book for, because there are things in there that I would never have thought I'd see. And I love that it's specifically saying, you know, that there's some rich person arguing, well, why didn't one of us from one of these towns where there's rich people get chosen? Why you? It's just, I absolutely love it, and it's something everyone should be reminded of all the time, that just because you've got money, it doesn't mean you're better than, and it certainly doesn't mean that Allah thinks you're better than.